Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 423, coming to you live from somewhere nowhere, NYC. We are actually here in Station 3 today, doing a little bit of work, catching up on everything. We just want to do a quick shout out to everyone that's joining us via our two YouTube channels, those that will be watching this later on Rumble, and then Telegram, Twitch, Discord, LinkedIn, and to our huge family over at Unlonely, as well as everyone on Twitter joining us. It's sort of weird. We have two different streams going on at the same time in Twitter right now. It's a weird thing. So I'm not sure if we're going to turn this eventually into just streaming only and doing that on Twitter. I will be honest, I have been loving doing Spaces ever since Spaces came out. So that is something that is really dear to my heart. So I don't really think that I'm going to step away from that. But man, it has been an amazing week. And then a weekend of catching up on things. We have been at the Sam Bankman FTX Alameda Research trial this week, and so where Sam is being charged with 7 main counts, mostly along fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and those fraud charges are both towards investors and users, as well as securities fraud and money laundering. One of the biggest speakers this week, testifiers this week for the prosecution, was Caroline Ellison, and she took 2 days to testify. And remember, this was a 4-day court week, Monday being a holiday. Caroline taking Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday was Christian Drapey, as well as Zach Prince. Friday was finished out with Zach Prince as well. For those who don't know who Zach Prince is the CEO of BlockFi. BlockFi is a over-collateralized lending protocol. They do larger loans, with different various organizations that may or may not be collateralized. One of the big revelations out of that was that BlackRock does not need assets to take out loans. So either, BlackRock is one of the big kids on the block that you just want to make happy, or there's been a lot of work in that. I think, if I remember right, doing a little bit more deep diving, BlackRock was one of the major investors in BlockFi. And so what sets BlockFi apart is for their institutional and retail customers, they both do those over-collateralized loans as well as making trades. They don't run their own decks, so they do other market trades for their users and take their little piece there. One of the big things that they have going for them is the fact that we saw Zach sort of cover the bases of what DEX is or SEX. They sort of were separating the terminology from those two and just classifying it as cryptocurrency exchange, and sort of gave out what, and was comparing those models to Web 2 situations or traditional market situations, so that the audience, aka the jury, could better understand it. There was a little bit of issues with when the judge was trying to wrap his head around something and would spit it back, and that sort of frustrated me here and there, because then people were just saying yes when I'm like, that's completely wrong and not how that worked or how that mechanism works. One of the big things that we saw from Zach Prince as we'll go back through our notes, because we are working on writing a big piece up on this, everything like that. You know, so what the defense was actually rather quick with him. Some of the only thing that they attempted to sort of, I guess, discredit him on was the fact, as he was talking about exchanges, asking him if he was a CEO or had managed in any way, shape, or form any CCEs, cryptocurrency exchanges. And so that was a really interesting point where the defense took to. And we saw, the big piece sort of on that, that as of June 2022, all loans were paid back to BlockFi. And so what is sort of hilarious is BlockFi was also a customer of FTX. I don't know how much of a customer, because once those loans were paid back, whether or not FTX and Alameda got their collateralization back, which is a rather interesting and funny way to look at it, because FTX customers' funds, meaning BlockFi in this situation, their funds were taken and used to pay back their loans. So unfortunately, or fortunately for BlockFi, since they were a big mover and they were in June, their customer funds, were not the ones that were affected. So it was basically the people that then took their funds off of FTX before November that sort of, are okay. And those that got stuck leaving after November is when things really started to hit the fan and people weren't able to pull out, so to speak. One of the things that we did see was that Serum, SRM, was rejected by SFRG, and I am assuming SFRG from the credit memos that BlockFi produced SFRG is either their San Francisco risk group or some other collateral, Oracle pricing service that sort of gave prices to tokens to give them value and whether or not they are good enough for investments. But this was BlockFi's own credit memo, meaning, as FTX or Alameda attempted to make more loans, every time they tried to make a new loan, they went through a risk management process. It does seem like this was pretty standard boilerplate, where they did sort of get a little off kilter, I guess you could say, is that they're taking unaudited expense balance sheets from not just Alameda but other individuals and companies that were taking loans out. And so I'm sure their practices have changed since then, which is always a great thing. But it was something that they said was sort of the norm, and because they got them on a regular basis, and they, aligned with what they knew from other data sources, that this sort of all meshed together. It doesn't seem like to me that there was any collusion between BlockFi and Alameda. BlockFi seemed pretty cut and dry in this, and it wasn't until Alameda looked to take a new loan of roughly $1 billion, and this was bumping their loan power from 45 million to $1 billion. The first time that they attempted to do this, they were that loan was actually denied, and that was because they were over collateralizing. Currently, they were at like a 200% over collateralization, but this would have dropped them down to around from 157% to roughly 118% over collateralized, depending on what tokens you looked at. FTT being a majority of the token that was being collateralized on. And this was due to risk assessments from BlockFi stating that there was too much volatility both on Solana Solana had just recently pumped and was doing a major pump in a 48-hour period, so it was being considered a risky investment token at that time. And FTT as well had sort of jumped in price, and we had seen that because if we were looking back in those dates, this was in around August of 2021. You know, everything was going up. It was sort of good for everyone. But if they dropped, then what BlockFi's risk management / credit team looked is that over collateralization would drop into the 60 to 75% range. So I think they did good. But the fact that, you know, Alameda then came up with new terms, new collateralization, these loans did eventually get issued in different ways. And so that's sort of the big thing with loan providers. Original terms are not accepted. They will then allow you to go back and make, you know, fix that. And at that time, you know, one of the things that I don't know why the defense really pulled apart on this was about FTT being in like the top 10% of tokens or the top 10 of market cap. Zach was sort of explaining that he was saying from an earlier interview with the FBI that FTT was in the top 10 of market cap, in the way it was either notated or talked about by the defense is they were thinking it was the top 10% of tokens. And Mr. Prince went on to explain that it was based on the time at its value, it was in the top 10 by market cap. And so then got to explain the math of fully diluted value and token disbursements and circulating supply and total mint to the jury. And the jury actually took a lot of this in really well, I think, you know. And so there are some people in the jury that, you know, there's one gentleman that every night after, you know, he has 5 hours after jury to go home and rest, and then go to work and then come in the next day. So he is just getting more and more tired. I see him sometimes taking a nap slightly during the trial. I don't know if he's supposed to be doing that, but he is just sort of falling asleep. And I really hate to say this, I have been falling asleep, especially yesterday, Friday. I think I fell asleep like 3 times, which is really bad. And I had some great support from some of the other reporters there. A really great crew of people, you know, that I've been hanging with, talking there. And you know, The Verge, Wired Magazine, New York Times, Washington Post, Axios, and then, you know, Blockworks and Decrypt, and even Julie Shen from Unblocked, you know, was there Friday, and I almost went to go speak with her, but she was doing a live broadcast from the steps, same place I was doing them the day before. And so the one day I wasn't doing them, she found and used that spot, which means I found a good spot, I think, to broadcast from. But we will be doing that on our lunch break tomorrow, and at the end of the day. So the big people that are going to be talking, that are being pulled up by the defense right now, is Delaney Ornals and Tariq Murad, as well as DePel, and then Busick. Busick is an FBI agent. DePel and Delaney. DePel is a customer. Tariq Murad, I think, is a customer as well. Delaney Ornaz, I forgot what they, you know, what someone told me who he was. I think they didn't know. But that then leads up to Rashad. Rashad is one of the big co-signers that you know, is being brought up by the prosecution. One of the people that is missing, and I am going to butcher his last name, but is talked about a lot, but is missing from a lot of different any charges. But Sam Trabuco. And so sometimes it's a really interesting aspect when people are talking about Sam. and Gary. But that was one of the big things that we saw from Ellison, is that she sort of pushed everything off onto everyone else. I have a little bit of a different take on that. Yes, I do believe that there was a little bit of see, I do think that there was a lot of not, collusion, obviously, between Sam and Caroline Ellison, but she wasn't just this hapless person that was just trying to make Sam feel better and build that relationship. Even though it seemed like it was a one-way street. And I don't know the right psychological term. Closest I can think of is like Stockholm syndrome, where the prisoner, gets into collusion with the captor. And so the only difference with that is, I don't really think, it could have been a bad situation, relationship, and that's sort of why it took off. And Caroline went out of her way to do extra good forgeries or, acts of fraud. Like one of the things, like they had their internal balance sheet, then they ended up creating external balance sheet that went out to investors and loans, not necessarily investors, but loans and stuff like that. And one of the things that, instead of just making one version, she made 7. So totally. And then it was like option 7 got sent to everyone. And option 7 is actually the balance sheet that got sent by one of the people that held loans, that got sent to CoinDesk, that CoinDesk leaked or put out on November 2nd, which slowly started this decline for FTX. And when I say slowly, I mean within the week, because by November 9th, a week after everything had started, Caroline Ellison was having her all-hands meeting with the team, which, the day before had just sort of, news had broke that Binance was making an offer to buy. And then that was followed by the amazing Rick Best on his 3rd day at the company, recording this all-hands, Alameda all-hands meeting, where one of the best, we got to hear Caroline explain everything to her employees. And this was a recording that Christian Drapey got, and as soon as he got it, turned it in. But it was floating around Telegram for a minute in December. I do remember that, in late November. But shout out to Rick Best for his 3rd day on the job. But after hearing Ellison sort of explain everything that was going on, how the funds were being used by FTX customers, Drapey had the best line to Ellison, this wasn't just like a YOLO thing, right? Caroline then laughed a little bit and was like, no, there's the rest of the team is knowing about it. And then what Caroline chose to say was that it was, if anyone had taken the time to look at the balance sheets, they could see it and they could, extrapolate that as well. So it was a rather interesting play there. And in my head, I'm like, well, wait, is this external balance sheets, or was this internal balance sheets that it could be seen in? So we will see a lot from that, I think, coming up. And the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, were actually slower by the defense on objections, which was rather interesting, especially Friday, sort of, those slowed down. I almost, sort of wrote out like a drinking game for objection overruled and objection sustained. There's just too many objections, and I do not have enough energy drinks to do that drinking game. I would be so wired. The courtroom officer would hate me. They did dislike me a little bit Tuesday. I did come into court with my digital watch. They saw the recorder on, I think, and so had to play nice, and it was one of those things where got to sort of push that out. One of the things, and then real quickly, just sort of want to shout out to Valve BTW, or Valve's BTW, joining us from Twitch. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Shout out to you. Yeah, that is sort of the short and nasty of everything going on. One of the things that I wanted to talk about real quickly, and I'm posting this out as we're talking about it, was Burn It DAO. Something that just having a little bit of, across my desk from someone I know. And go check out the website. Actually, let me post the website. And I'm just all about this website. But the idea behind it is basically an on-chain game that's in perpetual. So autonomous and anonymous. This game show will have roughly, will go until and it will mint until it won't start until everything is minted. Mint price is like 0.07125, I think is what the mint price is. I think around $121. The grand prize is $1 million. So what it will be, it's completely on chain, can be played directly through the contract, and some of the data behind it that's calling to the blockchain to control every piece of it. So the safety aspect of it in the contracts, which is really cool, and something that I've been going through the GitHub on it, and excuse me, having a lot of fun with it. So I ask that you give it a look. Burn It DAO. .xyz is the website. Have a little bit of fun. Tell me what you think of it, and we would really love to hear what you think, as this is something that is a little bit of fun. I am not part of the team. I know who it is. Not allowed to talk because they wanted to make something that was fully anonymous, and they're going with that. And I think it's sort of cool. Been running the code through different various platforms for analytics, compiling issues, as well as audits. And so I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. This will be one of those things to where if you don't get in before it mints, the NFTs, the following rounds, they can only go up in price. So that will be a really interesting piece, because you could just not play anymore, and you could sell your NFT if you still survive. But you have to burn somewhat. So it's almost like burning a candle at two ends. You have to, keep going and burn others to stay alive, which is rather interesting, and I sort of like it. It reminds me of almost like, what's the word? Man, I cannot remember the name of that book right now off the top of my head. Not like Survivor Games, but something along those lines. Hunger Games. There we go. Hunger Games. I knew I would get there. It has just been a long day. So, yeah, that is the big thing. One of the other amazing people that we actually got to meet during this trial, everyone we have met has been amazing. A lot of people that know me from conference cycles were really surprised to see me not in my conference outfit, I guess you could say, which is like me wearing 40 name badges. All of them have my name on it, but from all of the conferences over the last 18 months, and then like 40 plus wristbands. I do not think security would really like that at the courthouse. It is a federal courthouse, so I don't want to piss them off because I like being allowed inside the main courtroom, which is limited to 21 people. So that's a rather interesting piece there. So I am one of 21 that gets to go in and report directly from the case. Everyone else that is there is either watching it on monitors, slightly delayed, or going off of other people's information. Be careful. There is a lot of misinformation going on about that. One of the things I did see was that quoting out like you could just turn Solana off or on by a button, and this was like a power that FTX had. And no, that was never said. No, Solana does not have an on-off button. I think I think there's a $400,000 bounty out for anyone who can find an on-off switch in the entire GitHub for any of Solana. So that is a rather good bounty if you can find one bug or one switch or multiple switches that make that happen. The other aspect too, so we've had SBF trial. That was last week. That was this week as well. Then, a little bit with Burn It DAO. Following up now with Zen. Joined one of the Zen ecosystem calls today. Used to be known as Zen Week in Review. Really cool space held by Clocks and Simple Waters. Now it's RC and Simple Waters. RC is CC Clocks, but with a new Twitter account. I don't know if his other one got banned or restricted, but rather interesting twist there. And so as my spaces, I hold spaces completely different. Every space I go to does not really allow name calling, and so that is my number one. My number one pet peeve with that space is sort of the rambunctiousness from a lot of the speakers, and a lot of people have put a lot of their money behind this, and so I can understand that. But at the same time, these spaces are not just a few handful of people, but they're 200 to 500 plus people, and new people join them all the time. It doesn't really make it an inviting ecosystem for those people that are going off on that. And so I'm really, I'm just upset with that, but once again, it's not my space, so not my say. How I can tell someone to run it a little bit is, just suggestions, but then I don't actually have to participate in those. And I think that's mainly one of the reasons why I have not been going to the Simple Waters Week in Review, is because of that disrespect that happens on stage. That's just something I don't want to associate with personally. I have better things to do. Today, I had cigars to smoke. I spent 4 hours at the cigar lounge today before coming to the office here at Station 3. And what I like to say is that was just an aspect for me to run into some amazing people that were leaving Station 3 as I was coming in. And so um, I I'm just sort of happy that I was able to do that. Um, but let me see something real quick. I'm trying to see. Um, uh, nope, nope, nope. Um, let's see here. Lotus. Dang, I don't know where that might be. I did want to give a huge shout out as um, I have ran into um, some amazing people that got me into a really cool um, NFT project, and I'm just sort of happy to do that, you know. But the Lotus NFT, that's what I'm looking for. So let's look for that real quick. I don't know why I cannot find it, but um, yeah. So we will have to check that out. But we got to run into those guys, and we haven't seen them since the Solana Hacker House. So that was a really interesting and fun time to talk to them for a minute, see what they're doing and building out. And as they're using Station 3 as well for their off, they have an office here in Station 3. So it's really cool to see builders building. Me personally, I'm actually waiting. I'm on the wait list for um, an office as well. So Xerox Degens will have a physical office in New York City. At 26th Broadway, literally right outside the Wall Street Bowl, uh, which is a pretty cool thing to walk out to. Except for when it's raining, you know, then it's pretty empty. But you know, pretty much the entire time during the day, that bowl has lines of people in front of it, you know, wanting to take pictures with it. You know, pretty famous bowl. So that's sort of cool to see. Um, but it has been a great week in review. Some of the things I've been out and about doing, you know, doing a lot of stuff within Radix DLT as Radix Babylon has gone live. So if you have had a Zeus wallet or Olympus wallet, you know, you do need to upgrade your wallets to Babylon now that smart contracts are live. There is a lot of different cool stuff going on there. We actually just launched our token. We launched a token over there. I don't even know how it's doing. Let's go see how it's doing real quick. Aussie Swap. Aussie Swap is the way. And so let's go see here. Player one taco token. Let's go see here. Nothing but green candles. Yay! That makes me happy. Um, you know, we created what? What did we create? We created 21 trillion of these tokens. 21 trillion and 69. Um, and so that was sort of a fun thing. And then we made a bunch of different liquidity pools between Aussie Swap and Caviar 9, hoping people would buy it out, or not buy it out, but buy it. But we are going to be pushing a lot of that token out there and airdropping it because that's sort of what we want to do. We just want to give it away. And then hopefully people will have some, fun with it and find some of the different liquidity pools for it. And hopefully they just don't dump it, but you never know. It will be an interesting thing to see. And, huge shout out to the Aussie Swap team for making an amazing token launcher that is nice and simple. One of the things I want everyone to be aware of and to be ready for, blockchain fuel. That's mouthful there. But that is it for the day. We hope that you're having a great day. And if you are listening to this and you have been a CPU or GPU miner at any time, or you have the capacity to be one, again, I have a shout out for you. Please reach out to me, let me know, and have some connections that I would like to make for you, because someone wants to meet you. And that is what we are going to wrap it up today's TacoBytes on. Burn it down, SBF and Zen. Let's get a little permissionless and have a little bit of fun with this. Also, speaking of permissionless 3 tickets are out and ready to be sold at $199 right now. Those prices do go up all the way up to $2,000 the week of the day, or I think it's like the day of the conference or day before. They go they slowly slide and scale. So right now they're $199. They go all the way up to $2,000. And it will be in October of 2024 in Utah. Why am I forgetting where in Utah? Not St. George. Might be in Salt Lake City. I forget off the top of my head. But I am working for a promotion within Permissionless. Currently, last year I was the junior intern to the senior intern of the Permissionless Twitter account. Hopefully, and that was an official position, meaning there's not real interns. There's just a cool marketing team that take on the role of intern for the Permissionless Blockworks Twitter account. And I went out of my way and made a role as the junior intern to the senior intern and turned it into a job on my LinkedIn, and that sort of really got their attention and got them a laugh from them. And yeah, so I had a great time, and we will see you all next time. And as always, we end every space the same, but before we do, we want to just say a huge thank you to everyone joining us from Unlonely, those that are coming to us from Telegram and Discord and LinkedIn. Huge shout out to those that are watching us on Twitch. Thank you for joining us. I hope that you like and subscribe and share. That is my call to action. I ask that you do. And then we will also be putting this out on Rumble and we have not yet, where is that? We have not yet made the subscriber count yet to do live shows on Rumble. So we ask that you register, and we're going to drop our registration link on Rumble. And we ask that you please make an account if you don't already have one, and give us a follow as we are working to be able to do live streams on Rumble once we get to that follower count there. I think we have 3 followers there now. So whatever you can do would be amazing. Share it with friends, family. I don't know. I don't care. I do care. I would love for you to come and join us for our daily bite of Degen. Honestly, I want to really thank everyone that joins us or that listen in later on. As we get a bunch of people within the video stream, we get people coming here and there. So thank you so much for joining us. And as always, we end with our 2 basic things. Our words of wisdom and the best, worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet. And our words of wisdom are always the same. So thank you for joining us for TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 423. And those words of wisdom are: a closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth, meaning if no one knows you're looking for opportunity, opportunity can never come a knocking. And if opportunity does come knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. And with that, Huge shout out and love to Liam, all our heart. And if you don't know how this knock knock joke goes, I just want you to know it is done out of love. It is done for those, out of honor for those that have come before us and those that will come after us. And I am horrible at Irish goodbyes, so this is the only way I know how to do that. But knock knock. Who's there?